wait a second, does Shabbat actually have to happen on Shabbat? What are the key elements of Shabbat? It's about community, it's about great food, it's about learning each other's traditions, about singing together. Well, wait, we can do all of those things on a Thursday. Who says we can't do Shabbat on a Thursday?
I'm here to tell you a little bit about Not Shabbat Shabbat and what an incredible thing it is that we offer at Hunter Hillel. Hunter College is a commuter campus. It's much harder for us to have those moments that I know happen on a regular basis at residential campuses of having, an immersive experience together, of spending Shabbat together. On some campuses, this is an every Friday night activity or a full Shabbat thing. At Hunter Hillel, students go home to their families on Shabbat. They spend the holidays with their families. They're not necessarily local. And so it was a few years ago, I think it was actually our Israel fellow at the time said, okay, so we can't do Friday night together, but let's do Shabbat on Thursday.
I remember when we first came up with the idea for Not Shabbat Shabbat. So Not Shabbat Shabbat came up for us after the pandemic. We were trying to figure out how we could find more ways for our students to be engaged in conversation, to be in community with one another. And we have students coming from all over. And so it was hard for us to figure out and conceive of what it might be that would get our students from all 5 boroughs, all over New York City, to definitely be able to make Shabbat together.
Not Shabbat Shabbat is just so special because it gives people the opportunity to come together and share in a Shabbat tradition that maybe they're familiar with, maybe they're not familiar with. So everybody gets to learn something, and it's something that we're doing together regardless of the Jewish background we come from.
Not Shabbat Shabbat's a hit with our community because our community is so diverse and so different, and being able to come together and celebrate those differences but bask in the similarities it's such a beautiful thing, and it's rare for our students, and our students aren't given the social opportunities that students at residential schools are. So to be able to kind of have this social gathering that also is a celebratory ritual and also is, a religious ritual and a very beautiful, holistic way of approaching Judaism, approaching college life. I think it's a hit because our students need that kind of social programs that also highlights their Judaism.
So I love the opportunity for students to really learn what a Shabbat meal can look like, especially for students who've never been at a Shabbat meal before. They learn the rhythm of how it works, that you have candle lighting, you have kiddush, you have motzi, you have eating, you have benching, you might have singing afterwards, that rhythm becomes something they're familiar with. So if they go to a Shabbat meal on real Shabbat at some point in the future, they're going to feel at home with what that meal looks like because they've done it before at Not Shabbat Shabbat. And so it's a great way to help people feel comfortable going into all sorts of other Jewish environments going forward in other settings outside of Hillel.
The atmosphere of Not Shabbat Shabbat has always been very joyful. There's been a lot of excitement. Everybody's just so unbelievably happy to be there.
The atmosphere at the Not Shabbat Shabbats is very communal. It feels like you're at a family dinner. The atmosphere at Not Shabbat Shabbat is so welcoming, so inviting, so familial that it feels natural to get to go in, sit down, and meet someone new.
Not Shabbat Shabbat really is, it kind of feels like Shabbat. People are really focused on just being together, on each other's company, on the meals, on the Divrei Torah, on the singing. I think because our whole community gets together as a group so rarely, it's really special for the students to get to be together with everyone.
I think Not Shabbat Shabbat is a hit because the vibes are immaculate. It's a really great way to spend time with people, especially at a commuter school like Hunter. I kept coming back to Not Shabbat Shabbat because I met so many amazing people at the Hillel Lounge, but a lot of us had different schedules and we only had so much time to connect with each other. So going to Not Shabbat Shabbat was a really nice way to introduce myself and get to know other people more, and that's how I developed a lot of my friendships at Hunter and friendships that mean a lot to me today.
My first Not Shabbat Shabbat, I was a freshman in my second semester, and I remember being so nervous to walk into a room of people that I didn't know, and I ended up walking out that evening with, I think, 5 new friends, and it was that friendship with them that kept bringing me back to the lounge and to future Not Shabbat Shabbat. Parts of Not Shabbat Shabbat that I think that I like the most are definitely the themes. The theme dinners definitely make it that much more exciting and fun, and also amazing Dvar Torahs that either the students or staff will give. It gives you a chance to connect to the student or staff giving it, and they're extremely informational and fun.
My first Not Shabbat Shabbat was really nerve-wracking. The people I sat around at dinner, and Oneg is what really brought me back for the next one. Oneg is such a special part of Not Shabbat Shabbat. Even if you don't sing and you just come for the vibes and nai, you can really feel an energy shift during Oneg.
This is Hunter Hillel's way of coming together as a community to celebrate Jewish holidays, and when we can't necessarily do it the day of, the holiday of. And so we figured out this little way that really works for us and allows for those immersive experiences of like really coming together for these few hours where like you smell the food of Shabbat, you see like the room is set in a special way. There's singing, there's dancing, there's tasting good food, doing all kinds of different things, and it is a multi-sensory, deeply enriching, community building experience. And so we at Hunter Hillel are hopeful that some other Hillel campuses will see what we're doing and figure out a way to like shift it into something that works for your campus, and we want to help you figure that out. It's been so good for us that we want to share it with you.